Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for being with me one more time. I'm excited to be with you yet another day. Hey, first off, let me just acknowledge you for taking the choice to be here. It is your time, and I take your time very seriously because time is the most valuable asset, is my personal belief. So you giving me the next 10 minutes or so to just be with me and to hear some ideas that will drive things forward for you means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, last week, we spoke about how to come to conclusion with 2019, how to almost like give closure to it, to acknowledge the things that we didn't accomplish, to look at the things that we did, to acknowledge ourselves and give ourselves credit for the things that we were able to overcome that have gotten us to where we're at today. Now, if you haven't taken the time to do so, I invite you, stop this right now, don't watch any longer, and go and put in the time to do so. Because right now, you may be walking around with all this baggage on your shoulders. You may be walking around with the metaphorical ball and chain tied to your foot because you got all these things that you just haven't given yourself the credit for, and maybe mistakes or maybe goals you didn't accomplish that are still holding you back. You got to get complete with them. It's almost like, you ever been in a really bad breakup? Maybe it's like you didn't have closure on it, and you were wondering what happened. It was going so well, then it got really bad. What happened? And there's no closure, right? It's that level of closure is what I'm talking about. We can complete what did and didn't happen, so then we can be left with the ability to step into a whole new world. An open slate, per se. So, if you have taken the time to come to conclusion, to bring closure to 2019, let's step into now big old 2020, the year of perfect vision, a year in which really you can start to dive into what you are really out to accomplish for yourself in your life. This can be a year in which you can start to shift literally all areas of your life if you choose to. Now, why is it important to even start to think about choosing to create the year that's going to transform your life? Now, let me put it to you this way, and I always say it, and I'm going to say it again. If you get into a GPS, into a car, and you open up your GPS, and you put no direction on the GPS, is it going to take you anywhere? Are there going to be directions leading you somewhere? It's like the ship without a destination. It's the same exact thing. It's going to get somewhere. It's just going to get somewhere, not where you may have intentionally wanted to go to. So this is why we need to be conscious, and we need to really set the time to intentionally choose as to what we're looking to create in this next decade to come. We need to start to think about what is important to you. What are the things that you're looking to accomplish? What are the values you're looking to expand on? What are the habits you're looking to cut down in? What is something you're looking to put into your life? What is something you're looking to take out of your life? Maybe this could be a relationship that's now turned toxic. Or maybe it's that relationship that you see has a huge potential to really just have joy and connection and fun together. What can you start doing then? Now, when in the process of goal setting, it's because there's so many possibilities out there, and because intuitively and instinctively we know we can accomplish everything, the options become too many. There's too much complexity for the human brain to focus on just one thing with a simple question like, what do you want? When I say, what do you want? There's so many different things that open up now for you that it may be hard to focus on. So before we start to dive into what it is that you want, let's first look at what do you not want. What is something that right now you think of and you say, you know what, 2020, I definitely do not want this. When you can start to look at the contrast, we can start to see what's on the other side. It's like, I like to look at it this way. I love to look at the stars. I'm definitely a stargazer, especially in the winter. The constellations are out, skies are clear, it's beautiful. Now, if it weren't dark, I wouldn't be able to see the stars. If it wasn't for nighttime, I wouldn't be able to see this splendor of light that doesn't even exist anymore. The contrast allows us to see the things that we want. It's put differently. You have a lit candle. Now, if you put the candle up to the sun, will you see the actual flame burning? Answer is no. You gotta take the light, the candle lit, into a dark place to actually see that fire burning. Put the same context to this idea. Put down on paper and really get concrete. Like, have it distinct for yourself as to what is it that you do not want. Maybe you don't want any more debt. Maybe you don't want to not have a relationship with your spouse. Listen to what I said. You don't not want, meaning you do want. But if we can start to look at what you don't want, it starts to open up different things for you. What do you not want in this 2019? Number 2. Now that we have an idea of what it is that you do not want, perfect. We now can start to see, what do you want? This is now affirmative. This is now the thing that you actually want. And I understand, beginning, if you just start with what do I want, as I mentioned, mind's open. So many possibilities. It may be hard to really focus on one thing because there's so many possibilities. But now that you have a contrast, now that you see the darkness, you can start to see the light that's there. What is it that you want? What is it that right now if this were to happen by the time 2020 came to an end, if I'm talking to you let's say it's December 31st, 2020, and I'm asking you, hey, what are 3 to 5 things you are so excited about that have happened this year? This can start to give you access for those things that you want. Starting to look at the things that we want, we now start to look at the third thing we can do in this 2020 to make sure it is the year of cheesy and corny, yes, perfect vision. And this is important. Now that you have an idea of what it is that you don't want and what it is that you do want, you got to start to practice planning. You got to start to get into the habit of planning out your day. You got to start planning out your life. You got to start putting things into place that's going to give you a structure to get those things that you don't want out of the picture and get the things that you do want in the picture so you can plan to move ahead progressively. We go back to the whole thing about getting into a car with no destination. You talk to your spouse, honey, I want to take you on, get in the car, I got a surprise for you. You have no surprise set in your mind and you're like, I'm just going to wing it. I'm going to figure it out. You start driving around and next thing you know, you're like, ooh, where am I going? Now this surprise is turning into like a nuance. You're no longer bringing surprise. You're no longer bringing fun. You're no longer bringing connection. You're now trying to wing it. Are you at this point in time winging your life? And if you are, that's okay. And if you are, my question to you is, how much longer are you willing to put yourself in that position of winging life? Now look, let me make something distinct as well, because I know that when we talk about planning, a lot of people start to say, oh, but I don't operate from a schedule. I don't work that way. That's okay, you don't have to operate from a schedule. What I mean by planning is you have an idea as to what needs to be done next in order to accomplish whatever thing you're looking to accomplish. Now, my personal experience is I was in that same exact position. I remember when I was first knocking doors, I was not going by a structure. I was not using my calendar. I was allowing my feelings to guide my actions. And just like the wind, feelings, you don't know where they come from and you also don't know where they go. Example, you get in your car, your favorite song comes on. Whew, you're excited, you're fired up. Okay? You know the feeling came from the song. It's not really the song, something about the song gets you excited. Now, 5 minutes later, another song comes up. It reminds you of that bitter breakup you had. you're now feeling like down in the dumps. So do you see that if we allow our feelings to be the guiding of our actions, we're allowing our feelings, we're allowing the wind to be the direction of our life. The wind's gonna blow. The question is for you, are you setting forth these sails that are gonna guide you in a specific direction? If you are not planning out your day to day, if you are not planning out your month to month, your year to year, time's gonna come. 3 years from now will be 3 years from now. The question is, where will you be 3 years from now? If there's no planning taking place, you're gonna get somewhere. It just may be somewhere you don't want to get to. So prevent that. Prevent that. Go back into 2019 if you haven't come to a conclusion to the things that you didn't accomplish and the things that you have. And go into 2020. If you haven't, ladies and gentlemen, we're already almost into halfway into the first month of 2020. It's gonna move. It's gonna come quickly. Now, where are you going to be? How are you gonna set yourself up powerfully so that when you come to the end of 2020, you say, whoa, I didn't even know that was possible. And to build a picture, when you get into 2030, right? 2029, December 31, 2029, what are you saying then? You gotta start building up the vision for that today so you can start giving yourself that direction and you can start to feel this expansion of life. Thank you for being with me one more time. Again, if this information and these ideas are something that you see as being valuable to somebody in your life, don't be shy. Don't be shy. This is what I love to do. Share this with them. Give them the ability for them to start looking at life in a different way. It is by no means better. I'm not saying this is the better way to live. Who am I to say that? All I'm saying is it's a different way to live, and it's one that I'm not making up. This is my mentors, and we're talking OGs. We're talking people from a long time ago talking about the power of the mind, the power of visualization, the power of planning, the power of knowing yourself, self-awareness. If you want to know what you don't want and what you do want, there needs to be a level of self-awareness developed. I will see you next week. Thank you for watching.